without further ado, it's my honor, it's my pleasure. It really just makes me so happy to be able to introduce my wife, my partner, MaryBeth Hyland, the author of Permission to be Human. And I was thinking about it this morning. We've known each other for almost 20 years now, and I've been so grateful to really experience all of her wisdom for almost 20 years. And now, as many of you here have been touched by her and in what she's done through being her friends, family, through workshops, or reading her posts, I'm just so grateful that she has created this gift to share with the world, to spread so much wisdom with each and every one of you. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome MaryBeth up to the stage. Yeah, let's get some chat.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. This is such a big moment. And I'm giving myself permission to be human, which means I'm going to feel all the feels with you. And I so wish we had more time that I could hear your voices and have a bigger conversation. But as James said, this is going to go super fast. And so we want to be really respectful of your investment, of your time and energy with us today. And I can't wait to continue to celebrate with you over the next almost 50 minutes here. I have to start by saying thank you. Thank you to every single human being who is here and everyone who isn't here, but has been such an incredible support, because this moment was not something that just happened. This moment is something that happened over years and years and years of brewing this wisdom inside of me and having people like you say, that's actually wisdom. What you're saying matters. What you're doing is making a difference. And I must fully admit that without that validation, without that feedback, for up until about 2 years ago, I really didn't think these were gifts. I really actually considered this way of being as a burden, to feel so much, to care so much. And what's so beautiful about this moment is that I know you're with me in that. I know you're somebody who feels and cares and appreciates other human beings and being a human being yourself. And so I want to say a particularly big thank you to everyone who has pre-ordered. I've already gotten people sending me screenshots of their ebooks. A big thank you to everybody who signed up to be an ambassador, to be give shout outs and create more connection with your communities and bring them into this work. And to everybody who has supported me through engaging with my posts, giving me encouraging words, hiring me to work with you, being a part of a workshop. Every single one of you is in this book. Every single one of you is celebrating in this moment because you are this. This is very much not mine. This is ours. And I am so grateful to be going on this journey with you and igniting this new possibility today. So thank you so much.
Okay. So now we are going to move into a little bit of Q&A for our next session. And with the Q&A, we are going to be talking about, these are a lot of the questions that we got from each and every one of you. So I know you all can't see me right now. Hopefully that's okay. I'm talking in the background. But yes, we wanted to thank all of you for all your questions along this journey. Without these questions, it wouldn't be able to help us. So we've included as many possible for the call, but one of the first questions we got, and is one that keeps coming up, but a lot of people are curious to know, what made you write the book and how did you make it happen?
Yeah, so again, just piggybacking on James, thank you to everybody who weighed in on the structure and flow of today. We are hopeful that this will be a representation of what you are looking for, and it's certainly a representation of our hearts. And so why did I write this book? I alluded to that a little while ago in my opening remarks, and that for most of my life, I have felt like I was an outsider for really wanting to do what was right for people, particularly at work. And actually, the first sentence of my book, I think, encapsulates it. This book is a love letter to any fellow humans who have felt like they were the underdogs for deeply caring about people and their well-being at work. And so the whole intention of this book is for people to know that they're not alone and that they can keep going, and that there are more people just like you who want to create these cultures and these environments where people can thrive at work. And I've literally had this book living inside of me for at least 5 years, and thinking that, okay, when is this going to come out? When is this going to be something where the time is right for me to be able to really express and engage and empower other people in not feeling alone in that process, but also giving them step-by-step tools and a guide so that they can be met where they are and then ignite new possibilities exactly from that place, not from where you should be or want to be, but for meeting yourself where you are as a human in your own unique journey, and starting from that place in the process of being able to connect through shared values. So a lot of people ask me, why are you so passionate about values? And the truth is, I'm actually not all that passionate about values as much as I am about the language and the emotional intelligence that values unlock within us. And so over these nearly 300 pages, you will have an opportunity to go deeper into that unlocking process with yourself. And there's actually one human being in particular that has made a big difference in unlocking that possibility for me. And you will get to hear from him by reading the book, because Dr. Charles Johnson Bay, who is a cherished friend, community colleague, and client, sat with me. I would say Charles probably like 5, 6 years ago, maybe even. And we were talking about the vision, right? My company's name is SparkVision. And he was asking me all about, what do I want to do now that I started this business? And I said, I'm going to be an author. I'm going to be an author. I'm going to write this book. And he's like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for it to be a part of Oprah's book club. So he always saw this incredible possibility. And he wasn't coming from the same molds that I come from. He was coming from the math, science, technology space, where it's very much rooted in hard skills. But Charles is this incredible human being who has a blend of understanding humans with the soft and the hard, or now as we're calling soft skills, more power skills these days. Charles not only has supported me in listening to me, he has been a part of my advisory board, which is now called our Values Heart Trust, formerly Lifelines Brain Trust. And he has literally walked me through processes that he leads high-level executives in to make the most of being able to make this a business, making the possibility for myself to have a lifestyle in which this can be real for companies. And then he even hired me onto his team when he was leading his team at Lockheed Martin. And for me, that was actually quite profound. My father worked at Lockheed Martin, and he really did not approve of my choices in life. He would have much preferred that I became an orthodontist like I had planned to in high school. Took a very different path. And when Charles hired me and I came in, I walked through the doors of Lockheed Martin, it was this incredibly shifting moment for me of, I belong. I belong in all of these spaces, even the spaces that I was told I wasn't good enough for because of my choices. And so Charles has gifted and honored me in writing the foreword of this book. I hope that you will take a good read on it and recognize the power in having people like Charles in your life. So if we could just pin Charles for a moment here and join me in sending him all this love and vibrations. Let's get those love reactions going. Let's get the jazz hands, anything, to really just say a heartfelt thank you for always being there, for being such a champion. And not only for me, but everybody who has the gift of being a part of your life. So I thank you deeply, Charles. And in closing of, what is this about? Why did I write this book? I'd love to just finish out the closing section of the introduction here. Values-driven cultures matter today more than ever. Artificial intelligence is on the rise, and lived human values will be increasingly important as functional tasks are commandeered by non-human actors. Social media and technology are exponentially taking over our attention, making the physical and cognitive disconnect a greater barrier to break down. It is urgent that we reignite the one-to-one human connection based on our shared values. At the time of this book's release, we're still evolving our way through the coronavirus pandemic. The clearly visible prospect of work staying remote and workplaces becoming more dispersed underlines the need for values as a bonding agent. Now is our time to come together in our shared humanity by knowing, owning, and living our values at work. I will guide you in this process, but you have to be committed to the journey, to be willing to fall down and get up and do that forever. That's how culture goes. It exists every day, whether you do something about it or not. Together, we'll choose better for you, for your people, and for your company, over and over again.
Wow. Powerful, powerful stuff. And for the next question, this one, the name of the book, Permission to be Human, it resonates with people right away. I mean, you hear it and you get it. So where did the name come from, and what does it mean to you?
So the name of this book was originally going to be It's a Human Thing. Isn't Permission to be Human so much better? It's so much better. It's so much better. And the reason that it was going to be named It's a Human Thing was because prior to the work that I do now, when I first started, probably 4 years ago is when I stopped doing this work, I was known as a millennial engagement expert. Because I had come from a space, shout out to all of my ELU peeps who are here today. I had come from an environment where I was leading young professionals and creating proven practices models globally for engagement. So when I started my business, everybody wanted me to be the millennial expert. I actually was referred to as a millennial whisperer once, which I don't know if that was a cool thing or something to be offended by. But it was an experience that I was like, oh, it's so not a millennial thing. It's a human thing. It's a human thing. And so I had a keynote called The Secret Sauce to Millennial Engagement. And the close of the keynote was always, it's not a millennial thing. It's a human thing. And so it felt right. It just was like, okay, like that works. But then the more that the time came to write this book, the more that I realized that's not actually it. It has to be something that hits home in a different way. And one of my long-term clients, Swerno Building Systems, where David Swerno is the CEO, and I've had the honor of working with them for about 4 years now. We have developed incredible culture initiatives that are based in their values that we developed together. And there was a time that when during the pandemic began, obviously, like everybody else, we moved online. And we were lighting things on fire in a way that had never happened before in person. And it opened up this whole new possibility that I didn't know was possible. I didn't know that was possible to do online. All of these amazing things, all of these silver linings that came out of that experience. And after doing small things to get people excited on morning calls to bigger experiences, we were really having people connect deeply to themselves and to one another through fun, through activation of those values. David, the CEO, joined one of our meetings, which is called Sworno 360. It's their Culture Keepers group. Our Culture Keepers group work together. And he came in and he really just wanted to honor and acknowledge what we had been doing. And during that meeting, he said, "You all have given us permission to be human. This work has connected us in a way that I didn't know was possible." And he went on to say other really beautiful things. And I was just so happy, right? You always want to hear that. That's wonderful feedback to get. I was so happy. I was so blown away. But what I didn't catch was that phrase, permission to be human. I heard the whole sentiment, but not necessarily specific words. And when David left the meeting, the group reflected back to me, "Did you hear what he said? He said that we're giving people permission to be human." And as soon as that was reflected back, I believe it was Erica, who I think is here now, as soon as she said that, it shot me like a lightning bolt through my body. And I said, "That's it. That is the name of the book, because that is what this work is about. It is about giving people permission to be human, but starting with themselves in order for that to be a reality." So I actually talk about that story in the introduction as well. And I'd love to add just a little bit more detail to that, to give you some understanding of where this came from and how this is a part of the experience for the reader. The concept of permission to be human has several meanings to me. I hope these interpretations will give you some insight into the lens which I wrote this book. For starters, permission is profound to us humans. We hold ourselves back for lack of permission or for believing that it's not okay for us to be a certain way. In order to unconditionally give anyone else permission, we have to first give permission to ourselves. In the mindfulness community, to be is to exist. It's a reminder that we're human beings, not human doings, and that our greatest well-being emerges when we choose to become conscious through inner stillness. And then finally, human is the great bond between us. We have loads of differences, but significantly more similarities in our human experience. When we share our life experience, we inevitably find that we are all connected. To give permission to be human is to have radical compassion to exist as who you are, not who or where you want to be. So I want to ask James to bring David up on the screen and just say, "David, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for truly naming this book and for creating so much inspiration inside of these pages, all for the best. You and your team are just an amazing group of humans that I cherish, and I look forward to all of our work together. I'm so passionate about what we've done, and I'm so grateful for what's coming. So thank you, David."
Okay. So anybody who follows MaryBeth on social media or is on the newsletter has realized that during this book process, there have been a lot of ups and downs along the way. So I'd love, MaryBeth, if you could share maybe some of your biggest challenges, obstacles, or stumbling blocks, along your journey to making permission to be human a reality.
Woo! Yes, this was not an easy thing. This is actually by far the most vulnerable thing I've ever done. Unlike on social media or on a newsletter where you could go back and change it, you can just do a quick update, maybe even delete if you don't want people to see it again. This is an incredibly vulnerable process of putting myself out there. And so I had to be really thoughtful about taking care of myself, my energy, because there were tons of stumbling blocks, quite a few. The first one was pretty heavy. And I had originally thought this book would come out in the new year, right in the beginning, or maybe at the latest by Valentine's Day. And in my immediate family, we've had a very serious mental health crisis, which really pulled us apart. It brought up a lot of trauma from my childhood. And it was an experience where I had to stop. I had to actually give myself that permission to process, to grieve, to go to therapy, to take care of myself, because it was super important that the energy in which this was written was an energy of high vibration, an energy of love, an energy of possibility. And when I just wasn't feeling that inside of myself, I really had to stop and allow that to be the truth and give myself the space to do that. And so that was definitely the biggest of stumbling blocks, which was more just around tuning into my well-being and making sure that that was a priority through the process of becoming an author. The other one, which is really significant, people might have read this online if you follow me there. James and I spent a very long weekend. I think it was 3 days, which was the final push of getting the book out there, the final round of like, okay, we got to read every single word. We got to make sure there aren't any changes that we need, because this is it. We spent 3 days straight going through every single page. I read it out loud. James followed along. We took notes. We discussed it sentence by sentence. And we created this process that after each chapter, we put on a song and we dance around to keep our vibes going. And it was an experience of being like, okay, that was a huge push, but now it's done. And so when I was finishing it, I made a point. One of my core values is unity with nature. So I made a point to sit out in my little Baltimore City patio backyard with my tiny little garden here. And it was an experience of just getting really grateful and being taken away by my flowers. I started pruning them. I was dancing around. I was celebrating. And then we went to bed knowing Monday morning we were going to submit everything. Everything was going to be ready to upload and good to go. That night, there was this huge thunderstorm. I mean, like ridiculous lightning. It's almost like the house was shaking. James and I actually love opening the blinds and watching the storms because it's such a gift to be able to be a part of that and to experience nature in that way. So the next morning, I wake up and I go to my computer and I immediately get hit by a huge panic attack. My computer was not in my office, which meant I left it in the garden during the thunderstorm. I had not backed it up. It was all saved on that because I was just going to upload it real quick in the morning. So panic attack fully taking over. And I'm running downstairs like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm praying, please, 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 let this be, let this be. Wipe the water off because there was a full puddle on top of it. This was a big storm. Turn it on as I continue to pray. Turn the computer on. It actually turns on. Open up the Word document. It's actually there. Email it to myself as fast as I can, and then fall to my knees and just say thank you for this being so protected, because who leaves their freaking book out in the rain in a thunderstorm and then doesn't have to redo the whole thing? It was an incredible experience. And, and as I mentioned before, the self-doubt, the worry, the imposter syndrome, all of that, including even this morning, I woke up at 2 a.m. wondering, would anybody show up today? Is this book even going to matter? And I have to say that the person who has supported me in a way that I really can't describe, it's a feeling. He didn't know I was going to do this. It's my husband, James. He is the one who calms me, who grounds me, who centers me, and we're able to be that mirror for each other in life. And I dedicated this book to him, so I'd like to read the dedication. To my husband, James, for being my greatest champion in life, for knowing my work had the power to change lives before I did, and for always sitting with and supporting me when I doubted. Thank you for being the mirror and showing me just how good life can be when you know, own, and live your values. Thank you, James. You can put yourself on the screen. Oh, can we all send some love to James and all of the amazing partners in this world who are creating that energy?
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. It's been quite the process for both of us, and I'm just so grateful that we're doing it together and that we've been doing it together for some time. So it brings so much joy into my heart. And as we transition into this last question here, before we do, we're actually going to do another drawing, and then MaryBeth's going to lead us through a short guided practice. But I want to ask one more question, and that is, with this book now out there, what is your greatest hope for the reader and for your work right now?
Yeah, my greatest hope for the reader is that you will feel like you have a partner in this journey, that you will feel like you have the tools, the resources, the steps to guide you into being an incredible culture keeper, whether it's your business or you're a part of a larger organization, whether it's in your place of worship, in your community, in your home. Anybody who wants to create a thriving culture by grounding in their values, my hope is that this book is going to give you the tools to do that with ease, with grace, and with possibility, in knowing that there's nothing wrong with you. And in fact, everything is right with you. And that's what I hope will be ignited in the process. And I'd love to read from the conclusion here. It talks a bit more about that. Giving yourself permission to be human is hard. Giving an entire organization, including yourself, permission to be human can be even harder. That's because as human beings, we are incredibly complex. We have preferences and pet peeves, tendencies and habits. We have egos and fear, personalities and love. We have stories of the past that shape narratives of the present and future. We have things that bring us joy and things that make us recoil. These are all combined with generational trauma and ancestral power. And although we have more similar than different values, we're all taught to and instilled in us in distinct ways. Whether we're at work, at home, on vacation, or running errands, whether we honor the truth of our human complexities or pretend that they're not real, this and a heck of a lot more lives inside of us. We have been programmed by the people responsible for domesticating us as children, our parents, teachers, friends, media. For many, many generations, we've created the societal rules that said things like, work must be at least 40 hours a week to be valuable. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Your personal stuff doesn't belong at work, or emotions don't belong in the boardroom. We've wrapped up so much of our identities in the titles of our jobs, the success of our business, and the amount of money we make. But so many of us find that in the end, our work is something we simply did as a way to make it through life or check approval boxes from others. To work for the weekend and hang on to the dream of what our lives would be like in retirement. E.E. Cummings said it best. It takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. It takes courage and loyalty to yourself to step up and to do the deep work to truly understand your gifts and the values that surround them in order to intentionally create a workplace experience that makes you feel alive and aligned each day. You're fortunate to realize that you can make that choice, knowing that if you can do better for yourself, you can be an example for everyone else to do the same, and whatever that means through their own lens. We're not all built to do the same things. That's what makes all those preferences and stories and habits and history so very important. This courageous path of a culture keeper is one that will have many hurdles. There will be days where everything will feel like the puzzle pieces of your culture are finally locked into place, and then someone comes and flips the table on you, and you must pick up all the pieces. The beauty reveals itself when you feel like you've lost it, but when the curious, trained, and caring humans around you show up and get down on the floor next to you. They help you sort out the mess and reassemble your vision into reality, one piece at a time. This is when you've developed a culture where people have permission to be human and are held accountable to aligning with your shared core values. And in thinking about the future and the possibilities for our work, we are so excited the reason that there's these mountains behind me My desk is actually made from a piece of wood that came from our family's ranch in Idaho, which we just got the blessing to build a tiny home on. We are in the process of learning to figure out a business model in which we can live off the grid and provide support in a way that we are fully activated in our values. And so there's going to be tons of opportunities online. We're going to have a whole course for people to be able to take that accompanies this book, with the hope that more and more people won't have a financial barrier in the same way as working with us as consultants directly. And one of the people who have really made this a possibility and showed me that this is the path is Lisa Schroeder. Lisa and I started working together. She was one of the first companies ever that brought me in to facilitate Life Lens, which is a half-day retreat experience for people to go on a journey and honoring their past, to uncover their values, and then learn how to ignite them in the future, to live a life of alignment with those values. And she was so vulnerable and real and candid and shared her heart. And I thought, this is possible. I can do this. This is something I can bring into companies. And then during the pandemic, her organization that she now leads, the Pittsburgh Foundation, as the president, we were literally days, I think it was 3 days before I was headed to Pittsburgh to do a 3-day in-person retreat to uncover the values of their team and then create value promises so that they could create a code of conduct around the shared values to unite the whole organization. And I thought, oh, well, we're not really gonna, we're not gonna do this. It just happened when we all get back to normal, which will be in a couple weeks or a couple months, as I think most of us were thinking. And within a few months, Lisa reached out and said, okay, we're ready. We're going to do this online. And so through her trust and faith and commitment to me and this work and commitment to her own values and her own journey, we figured out how to translate the whole thing online. And I dare say, may have been the most powerful multi-day values retreat we've ever done for our company. And so, Lisa, you have ignited so many possibilities for me. Can we bring her up on the screen and just send her some love? And for all the Lisas out there who are leading organizations from their hearts, caring about their people, and giving themselves and others permission to be human. Hey, thank you so much, Lisa. Let's give her some hearts in your reaction. Send her some good vibes. Thank you, Lisa. So one of the things that I mentioned is today we were going to do a practice to start igniting permission to be human in ourselves today. So I'm going to do an abbreviated version. There's actually a 15-minute long version of this that will be coming to Insight Timer, which is a free meditation and mindfulness app that I'm grateful to be a teacher on. I'm wearing this top in my picture there. If you want to look for me on Insight Timer, they've got about 18 million users online. And so it's an amazing global platform for tons of great resources. Julie Riesler, who was one of my advanced praises, she's an incredible teacher on the platform as well. I highly recommend you check out her work too. And what we're going to do, though, is an abbreviated version. So we're going to spend about 5 minutes here in grounding ourselves in this moment, grounding ourselves in our bodies, and then figuring out one spot in your life where you can give yourself permission to be human now. Thinking about how I talked about permission to be human before. Now, I also want to, in that vein of permission to be human, if you're more comfortable turning your camera off during this practice, we are going to be closing our eyes. Please do what's going to make you feel more comfortable. I'd love to see your face when you come back, but make sure you're meeting yourself where you are. The other thing is there's going to be a breathing process. It's called tactical breathing. It's what Navy SEALs do. They have to do 1 minute of this breathing before making a major decision of taking action on something that's significant. And so it's a really awesome tool that all of us can use. Now, if something's going on with your breath or it makes you uncomfortable to inhale or hold your breath, again, meet yourself where you are. Don't do something that's going to take you to a place that's not going to serve you. All right, having said all that, I'd love for you to start to make yourself comfortable in your seat. Maybe you want to roll your neck, your shoulders, your wrists. Do whatever is going to make you just feel like, oh, I'm paying attention to my body. And that's a nice thing to do. And then you're going to slowly either bring your eyes down or close them completely. Again, whatever's most comfortable. And just begin to take long, deep breaths, feeling your belly rise and fall. If you can, breathing in and out of your nose. Just being open to whatever comes up for you now without judgment. Just being kind and generous to yourself, knowing that this could be something totally new or something that is going to enhance your practice. And what we're going to do in a moment is begin that tactical breathing, which is going to be inhaling to the count of 4, and I will count for you. You're going to hold for the count of 4. Exhale for the count of 4. Hold for the count of 4. This is also called box breathing because, as you can imagine, it creates a box with our breath. So together, let's just take a deep inhale and then release. And on the next inhale, we'll begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. And go back to your regular breathing. Continuing to keep the breaths as long and deep as feels comfortable. And now I want you to bring up into your mind's eye, into the screen behind your eyelids. What is an area in your life today that would benefit from you giving yourself permission to be human? Where are you being too hard on yourself? Where are you withholding love to yourself? Just bring that idea, that thought up without judgment, without allowing it to take over, just noticing it. And as you exhale, begin to feel it leaving your body and being replaced on the inhale with a thought that does serve you. So perhaps in my case, if the feeling or thought was not being enough, I'll release not being enough with my breath. And on my inhale in, I will bring in being so much more than enough. Really feeling that new possibility inside your body as you inhale in. Seeing what it feels like to give yourself that permission. How nice it is to be your own best friend. And on your next inhale, if you feel comfortable, you can place your hand on your heart. Begin to feel the beat of your heart against the palm of your hand. connecting with this incredible source of life within you. And I'm going to recite the permission to be human pledge. And I ask that after each statement, you recite it to yourself. You can choose if that's out loud or in your mind, but really allow the words to seep in and take over. I promise to honor what makes me perfectly imperfect. I promise to meet myself where I am, not where I want to be. I promise to suspend judgment and ignite compassion. I promise to set healthy boundaries to protect my energy. I promise to prioritize my well-being by embodying my values. And in doing so, I promise to give myself and others permission to be human. Now bring a smile to your face. Give yourself some gratitude for choosing you in this moment. Allow yourself to feel fully human right now. And when you're ready, you can slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing yourself back in to this present moment. So that was about 5 minutes. That was about a 5-minute practice. And what I love about that is it's something we can do anywhere, anytime. No one has to know that's what's happening inside of us if you're in a public setting. And how beautiful it can be when you ignite that possibility for others by doing it openly too. So I'd love to hear in the chat if you're back with me. What was that like for you? How do you feel as a result of just pausing, doing that practice? What new possibility is here to serve you? Anything that came up for you that you'd like to share, it would be a gift to go back and spend time with your responses here. This is a big part of actually embodying the work versus reading about the work. So thank you, whether this was brand new to you or something that really is an addition to your practice. I hope that you were ignited with love, with self-care, and with new possibilities. Awesome. Love this. Okay, so we're officially coming home here. I can't believe it. I didn't know it was going to be possible for me to do this in an hour. That's why I said to James, you have to make sure everyone's muted and people can't come off mute because I want to hear your voices. I want to hear everything. Please reach out to me afterwards. I want to know what came up for you, for better or not so good, right? I want to know. So please know I'm here and I have nothing else going on today because I just want to bask and bathe in this beautiful experience with you. A couple other things, a couple other opportunities I want to make sure that I share today. One is that I mentioned, especially in my example with Lisa and the Pittsburgh Foundation, that our work is primarily going into organizations and facilitating typically 3-day experiences where we uncover the values of the individuals who work there to understand what are the shared values of everyone so that we can really say, all right, this is what intrinsically motivates us versus what are some nice words to pick off a list that seem great for our industry right now. And then from there, we create a code of conduct, or what I call value promises. You'll read all about it in the book, to understand how do we align our behaviors, our practices, our policies, our actions with these statements. So they are embodiment. They are not just a nice idea. And then there are additional opportunities to be able to learn, okay, so how do we create filters with our values so that we know whether this is a yes or a no? We don't go looking to everybody else for answering our questions, but we look within to decide this is what really matters. This is what's in alignment with our values. And so that is typically a significant investment for organizations. And what I'm super excited about is I'm now going to be offering this for solopreneurs. Solopreneurs. So what's typically a $25,000 investment is going to be $2,500 for anybody who is an entrepreneur. This is actually the best time to do this work. It's the best time to do this work because you're starting from the beginning. You're creating the foundation versus trying to rebuild and restructure. So we're going to have 11 entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, who can really do this work within for an upcoming retreat that's going to be September 1st through 3rd. So on the horizon. And anybody who is a solopreneur, or perhaps you know a solopreneur who you think really cares about their culture, really cares about the human experience at work, wants to have a sense of ease and grace and grounding as they go about seeing their vision come to life. This is going to be an incredible experience that I cannot wait to offer on an ongoing basis. But the first one will be, as I said, September 1st through 3rd. And for anybody who's here, we are going to be offering a 22% discount through the end of the week. So it's on Eventbrite where you would go in and register. We'll invoice you. We're not going to do that through Eventbrite, that type of investment. So if you register between now and the end of the week, you will automatically get that 22% off discount. So we would love, love, love to have you as a part of that experience if that resonates with you. Also, more than happy to answer any questions for you. If you have some hesitations or you want to talk through what that'll look like and how that will have a possibility of really transforming your experience in the workplace with that you're creating every day. And then our final, this is completely free. We are going to have 2 book clubs coming up next month. James, will you remind me of those dates?
Going to be on the 11th and the 25th of August.
The 11th and 25th of August, the exact same time as we are right here. So it'll be for people on the East Coast, that lunch hour, 12 to 1, where for anybody who's read the book, there's going to be an opportunity to do a deeper dive, to answer questions, to do more facilitated activities like we just did with the Permission to Be Human pledge. And so the first one is for ambassadors only. That's for people who have pre-ordered the book, who have shared this wonderful resource with others, for people who have signed up and said, I'm going to be a part of it. And guess what? If you're here today, you count as an ambassador. So whether the first date or the second date works for you, we want to continue this conversation. I also want to extend that if you are in a book club or your organization would be interested in these books, we have really great discounts and bulk rates for 25 copies and above. And we would love to be able to spread these possibilities to more people and to get access in a way that we didn't have before. And so having said all that, I just want to close out today. I know we're right on the nose here. I just want to close out with the close of the book. Every day, I can proudly claim that I get to be a conscious, values-driven, mindful, intrinsically aligned superhero by giving people permission to be human. It starts from within. Every time I help make space to heal my own wounds, I open space for those around me to do the same. Every time I admit my failures and apologize, I invite others to join me. Every time I can empathize and relate to someone who's sharing vulnerably, I show them it's safe to speak their truth. This all ignites more and more possibility, helping team members feel heard so they can finally sleep at night, to empowering someone to use their voice to tell their supervisor what's not working, to encouraging a manager to celebrate someone who is putting in the work to grow. I am the culture keeper superwoman. This is an attainable superpower for all of us, not a special gift some of us were born with and others were not. This is special. What is special is making the choice to align my energy and action with my values, choosing to attract people together instead of push them apart, choosing to say the things that are hard because they're what's right. And guess what? You have that exact same power and choice to make every day. You can go from being a culture killer to a culture keeper, a disconnected executive to a connected one, a value novice to a values expert by making a different choice. A belief exists only as long as you say yes to it. As soon as you say no, a new possibility is born. It can be that simple. You're meant to go on a journey to know, own, and live your values so that your life, team, and company can thrive. Now you get to choose. Will you become a conscious, values-driven, behavior-aligned, culture-keeping superhero in your organization? I really hope so. I know that so many of you already are. That's why you're here, because this already resonates with you. It's a part of your heart. And I am just so grateful. I am so grateful that you're here, that you are saying this matters, that you're linking arms with me and walking into a new possibility. I don't know how I can ever thank you truly for making this little girl who thought something was wrong with her, for caring about people too much, to becoming a powerful light of new possibility for others. It's because of you that that is real for me. And so from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful. I am so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't wait to see how this journey takes us into the next possibility. We did it.
Party time.
I just wanted to say thank you once again. I'm so honored. I'm so grateful. I cannot wait to continue this incredible journey of possibility and abundance with you. Please be in touch. I know we will be. And once again, please give it up to James and also Gina Burleski for being our behind the scenes supporters today. I also wanted to give a final shout out to all of the amazing humans who did advanced praise for me. I didn't get you in the beginning, so I want to get you now. It really is. You make me way more legit than I am. And I thank you so much. So let's keep this party going. Keep your vibes high and spread more of this positive energy and giving yourself and others permission to be human. Thank you so much.